Hello all, a bit of a different start to this video as I've just arrived into St Pancras International on board a Thameslink train, as today I am off to ride one of Britain's most unreliable intercity trains, the Class 180 Adelante as operated by East Midlands Railway. So, without further ado, let's head to the platform and see what we're in for. We have a bit of time before our service departs today, so it's time to have a look around the station. We are now in the main concourse of St Pancras International, where we can see the large departure board showing South Eastern, Eurostar, Thameslink and East Midlands Railway services. East of the main concourse, we can see a large variety of cafes, restaurants and general shops, such as Oliver Bonus, Starbucks, Paperchase and Pret-a-Manger, which is really good as it shows the amount of variety the station offers passengers before they undertake their journeys. Slightly northeast of here, we can find the southeastern high-speed platforms for services along the high-speed 1 to Kent. I do have a video about this coming out soon, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. We can also see one entrance to St Pancras International, which also connects to King's Cross to the east. Back in the main concourse, we have a better view of the Thameslink platforms, which provide services to Brighton and Gatwick Airport in the south, as well as Luton Airport, Bedford and Cambridge in the north. We can now see the Eurostar departure gate for services from St Pancras International to mainland Europe, including Brussels, Paris and Amsterdam. However, due to the COVID-19 restrictions in place at the time, it was relatively quiet when filming. Walking towards the escalator to catch our service, we can see a large variety of Parisian restaurants and cafes, which, if I'm going to be honest, is great considering it highlights the amount of culture that Eurostar has brought to St Pancras International. There's also a public piano just by the lifts, which anyone can play, as can be seen here. And as we have a bit of time before we catch our service, let's listen for a little bit. Now that the tour is over, and whilst we admire the great architecture of the St Pancras roof, it's time for us to discuss our operator. So, who are we travelling with today? We're travelling with East Midlands Railway today, who provide intercity and outer suburban services out of London St Pancras, serving destinations such as Corby, Nottingham and Sheffield. Outer suburban services between London St Pancras and Corby are provided under the EMR Connect sub-brand, using a fleet of ex-Greater Anglia Class 360s. Intercity services provided out of London St Pancras on the Midland Main Line are operated under the EMR Intercity brand, using a strong fleet of Class 222 Meridian units, as well as the Class 180 Adelante units, which we will be travelling on today. As you can see and most definitely hear, they are very interesting trains, notably so for their poor reliability. A total of 14 units were built by Alstom at their Washwood Heath plant in Birmingham between 1999 and 2001 for First Great Western, now known as GWR. However, due to their reliability issues, they were subsequently transferred elsewhere, notably to Grand Central and Hull trains, the latter of which had theirs replaced by Class 802 Paragons and were transferred to East Midlands Railway to replace their HSTs. Approaching the platform, we can see the rebuilt section of the station in full view, which was opened in 2007, as well as a Eurostar service awaiting its next duty. We'll be travelling from St Pancras International to Nottingham today, with an expected journey time of just over an hour and a half. Today, we'll be travelling in standard class. Our train today consists of 5 carriages, which is the standard consist of a Class 180 train. However, there is one 180 running around on EMR's network, 180-110, that due to excessive corrosion on one carriage is operating as a 4-car set. Well, now that we've had the introductions out of the way, it's now time for us to board our service and take a look around. Starting from the rear of the train, one thing that's blatantly obvious is that the units still carry their old Hull trains interior from when they were last with the operator, which was a bit of a disappointment from my point of view, as EMR really should have refurbished them, given that the interiors are rather worn and outdated. One good thing about the Class 180s is that they have toilets in every carriage. Even if they are standard ones, it's still good to see. Coming towards the end of Coach B, we can now see the buffet counter, where you can buy a large selection of snacks and drinks. However, the member of staff operating it was not there today, owing to ongoing COVID restrictions and staff sickness. On a 5-carriage Class 180, the typical formation is coaches A to E, with coaches A to C and Coach E being standard class sections. Walking towards the first class carriage D, we can see the old Dynamic Lines logo from when the unit was with Hull trains, again, something that should have been removed. First class seating on these trains typically includes leather moquette, which is a nice change from the standard cloth, in my opinion. As we come towards the end of the 5-carriage train, we come across the accessible area, as specified by PRM regulations, which includes an accessible toilet, as well as a bay for wheelchair users, which was more accessible than the previous HST fleet. Well, guess that's it from me in terms of the walkthrough, so it's time to take our seat and hit the Iron Road. As we head towards the Midlands, this section of the High Speed 1 now splits from the Midland Main Line, going onwards to destinations in Kent. We, however, will be going on to the East Midlands, so let's go! To the right, we can see the Thameslink portal, which provides a link between North and South London via central London destinations to Sussex and beyond. A rather unique station on the Midland Main Line, West Hampstead Thameslink interchanges with the London Overground and London Underground stations. However, all three are within walking distance of each other and require separate tap-ins. To the right is Cricklewood Depot, where both East Midlands Railway and Thameslink carry out stabling and light maintenance of their units, with East Midlands Railway also carrying out fuelling of their diesel trains. Just slightly north of Cricklewood can be seen the site of Brent Cross West Station, which is due to open sometime in 2022 to provide better links across the Thameslink network with Brent Shopping Centre as well as the Northern Line. With the North Circular and the M1 motorway in full view, we are now approaching Mill Hill Broadway, which is one of my favourite sections of the Midland Main Line, as it's pretty amazing to see how fast you're going compared to the cars on the motorway. It's now time to check out the features of the train. First up, we have foldable trays at the back of every aisle seat, which aren't really that great in my opinion, as they don't fold all the way and give a rather slanted appearance, which makes it much easier to spill drinks at 125 miles an hour. Something I've not seen on an intercity train before around here is a net for storing bags and coats. I tried it out with one of my model bags, and as you can see, it fits perfectly fine and saves me having to store it underneath my seat. So, pretty convenient and quite a unique feature for an intercity train in this country. Plug and USB sockets are present at every seat, which is great to see as it offers greater flexibility with charging your portable device compared to EMR's other fleet. That being said, however, in Coach B, all of the sockets were completely out of order, with this label stuck on all of them, which, if I'm going to be honest, was not great to see. One thing that caught me by surprise is that the coat hangers are actually located on the side of seats, as opposed to next to the window, which is a nice feature in my opinion. Certain seats on the Class 180 face away from each other, which can be used as additional luggage space, as highlighted throughout the whole train, which, in my opinion, is a really cool feature to have, as it enables you to keep a watchful eye on your personal belongings. As is common with most intercity trains in the UK, the Class 180s have foldable armrests at the end of each seat. Whilst at first glance the seats seem really firm, they are actually really comfortable to ride on, as expected from an intercity train. That being said, however, one of the seats I came across when searching for one was rather loose. As is common with the Class 222s, the Class 180s have seat numbers located above every seat. However, these are in the form of stickers as opposed to electronic displays on the Class 222s. Reservation cards would also normally be placed in the holders above every seat. However, there didn't seem to be any in place on this journey today. Passing Luton Airport Parkway station, which serves the nearby Luton Airport, we can see that the Dart monorail is nearing completion, which is expected to provide a better connection to and from the station and the airport, which with an expected opening of summer 2022. On this section of the Midland Main Line, trains are able to operate up to 125 miles an hour, which is what we're experiencing right now, which, if I'm going to be honest, for a train with such a history of technical difficulties, I was actually really surprised to see achieve this. Passing through Bedford, the northern terminus of the Thameslink network, and the Marston Vale line, we come across newly electrified sections of track, which was brought into use as part of the Midland Main Line electrification project back in late 2020. As we approach Kettering, the first stop of our journey, to the right we can see Kettering stabling sidings, which are newly built electric sidings built for the stabling of the EMR Class 360 fleet. This enables easier access to Corby and Kettering, as opposed to a 222 or 180 coming in from Etches Park, as they did previously. I'd also like to point out Kettering's roof, which was recently refurbished as part of a programme to improve the station, and, in my opinion, it looks really good. Kettering North Junction is where the Midland Main Line splits from the main section and the Corby branch. We can also see some piling that has started to take place in preparation for the extension to Market Harbour and beyond, as part of the Integrated Rail Programme. Well, the extension beyond Market Harbour as part of the Integrated Rail Programme. It's now time for us to look at the toilets, starting with the standard toilet. Let me just lock the door and we can begin. So, initial observations. It's very clean, which is good to see, especially travelling during the pandemic. However, it is very evident of whole trains, as can be seen from the landmark of East Yorkshire. The soap is working perfectly fine, and so is the tap. Therefore, the toilet gets a big thumbs up from me. It's now time for us to look at the accessible toilet, which is located in coach A. Fortunately for us this time, the doors operate using an automatic button system. And toilet locked, let's begin. Initial observation, again very clean, however, you can definitely see evidence of first Hull trains on here. Well, blatantly obvious as it has the name there. There's a lot of sanitizer and liquids located, presumably just in case the dispenser doesn't work, which, today, it seemed to be doing so. So, testing out the tap, everything works perfectly fine. And with that, thumbs up. There's also a foldable section here in the toilet, which presumably is either for holding toiletries or for baby changes. Either way, It's a nice feature to have on board. And that's it for the toilets. Let's head back to our seat. Next to each door on each of the carriages of the Class 180, there's a foldable tip-up seat, which is really useful, especially when the train is rather busy, as it can get being only 5 carriages long. Walking back to my seat, I noticed the new passenger information screens that were retrofitted to the fleet back when they were with Hull trains. East Midlands Railway have clearly updated them, however, they did not appear to be working, despite being in place to replace the previously old passenger information system, as can be seen above the screen below. However, this was rather disappointing, especially considering it's a PRM requirement. We are now arriving at our penultimate stop, Leicester. Leicester is a major interchange on the Midland Main Line for services to Sheffield as well as Nottingham, not to mention EMR's regional services, as well as cross-country services via the Oakham line to Peterborough and Stansted Airport. And of course, no visit to Leicester is complete without showing off Leicester LIP, which is where various freight operators store their locomotives, which are used for a multitude of purposes. These locomotives range from HSTs to Class 91s, the 91s being used as part of an export plan by Europhoenix to get the class into mainland Europe for freight operations. And now, it's non-stop to Nottingham, with this section of the Midland Main Line offering 125-mile-an-hour operation as well. So now, let's kick back, relax, and enjoy the scenery of the East Midlands. One of the Midland Main Line's newer stations, East Midlands Parkway, was opened in 2009 to provide better links by rail to East Midlands Airport. The familiar sight of nuclear power plants in the background is a strong indication that you're back in Nottinghamshire. And so, on the approach to Beeston, we are now coming to an end of our time with East Midlands Railway. So overall, what did I think of East Midlands Railway's Class 180 Adelante? Overall, I found the service today to be rather swift, comfortable and pleasant, despite the reputation these units have of being rather unreliable. Minus the passenger information systems not working, as well as the loose seats in some carriages, and the fact that Hull Trains branding more or less exists everywhere still on the train. I honestly think the Class 180s are some of the best intercity trains the UK has. However, they do need to be well maintained, not to mention that EMR's Class 180s do need an interior upgrade, despite them only being stopgaps until their Class 810s arrive. The price of my ticket today cost me £22.75, including railcard discount of a third, which was pretty good value for money. However, it could have been better had I booked a few days in advance. Anyways, that's it from me, and welcome to Nottingham. And welcome all to Nottingham, the most populous city in the East Midlands and the home of Robin Hood. I hope you all enjoyed the video today. If you did, please help us out by giving it a like, sharing the video, as well as subscribing to the channel and enabling notifications, as I am now uploading new videos every 2 Fridays at 5 PM. Well, that's it from me guys. It's time for me to catch my tram to the city centre. So take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in 2 Fridays time. Bye!